Morning everybody, it's Amy from Making Space. Here with another activity suggestion that you can try at home. Today we're going to have a try doing some printing inspired by lino print, but something much more achievable for you to try at home. Again, I'm going to talk through all the materials we need and then I'll show you a quick demo. So you're going to need some materials today that you may not have at home. I'm going to link them online, so if you don't have them you can easily get them delivered to your door. So you're going to want some cardboard or some plastic sheeting or newspaper to cover your table. You're going to want some plain A4 paper, a pencil, pen, a pair of scissors. You're going to want to get some of this, it's polystyrene. It's the kind of thin sort of polystyrene that you might get at the base of a pizza. And actually you can use that as well, save it going to waste. Or you can order it online just for this purpose. I've made a little template, which you might want to do, but you don't have to. Then you're going to want some blank cards. These are the pre-folded ones. You can see I've got one with sort of a nice texture. And then a bit more specialist equipment. You're going to want a board or something that you can roll out on. A lino printing roller. And some block printing ink as well. Again, I will put links up to all of this stuff that you've got. If you've not got them and you want to make do with what you've got at home, you could have a go using just normal paint as well and see how you get on. Okay, right, let's talk through the activity. So let me just clear a bit of space. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a template. You can see this fits inside the square of my card, leaving about a centimetre gap around the outside. That just makes sure that as long as my artwork stays inside this space, I know it's going to fit on my card, which is great. Then what you're going to do is grab a blank bit of paper. Pop it down. Put your template on it. Pop it near to the edge. Grab your pencil. And just go around the outside, and then you should have a square which you know you can do your drawing in. Then you can come up with your design. I'd recommend starting off nice and simple, don't do anything too complicated, and use your design to draw on here. Something that's really important to mention, that if you want to do words or letters or numbers, they need to be back to front, because when you print it you're going to be taking your printing block and you're going to be flipping it over, so the words need to be back to front. A good way of doing this, what I show you for example here, so the word love for example needs to be written back to front. A good way to do this is to write it on a bit of paper, flip it over, and if you go up to a window or you've pressed hard, you can kind of see where the lines are. And basically any writing needs to be back to front. So once you've had a bit of a go, you can come up with a simple design, and you can see I've done one here really simply inspired by sort of daffodils. Seeing it's spring, I thought that might be a nice subject matter. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get your template again and a bit of your polystyrene, and again you're going to cut out a bit of this the same size, so pop it right to the edge. Use your pencil just to press lightly, and you can just about see that line there, so we're then going to cut it out. And all these bits that are sort of left over around the edge, you can still use. You can use them for other prints or other craft projects as well. So we've now got our piece of polystyrene the right size. And I'm going to put my design here as well. So now we're going to copy the design from here onto here. If you're confident, you can just redraw it straight away. If you've pressed really dark or you've used a pen, you can sometimes see through the polystyrene. But I'm going to just redraw it on. I'm going to use a really soft felt tip pen to start off with. And I'm going to try and not press into the polystyrene at all. which is why a soft felt tip pen's quite good, because they're quite, they've not got a really hard tip to them. So again, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Okay, once you've got your design drawn on there, let's get rid of this one. You can then use a pencil, a pen, anything you want to then go over the lines and press harder. Like so. Now the way that lino printing works is that you're going to create almost like a stamp. So anything that's pushed down isn't going to print. Anything that's left raised up will. So on this leaf, the line around the outside won't print, but the leaf will. So that's really worth bearing in mind when you kind of just do your design. Think about which bits are going to be raised up, which bits aren't. And the nice thing about this is you can experiment. If it doesn't go right the first time, have another go. And you can see I'm pushing down quite hard on my polystyrene, because I really want these lines to be really nice and bold. Okay, sorry, my camera's bouncing around a little bit today. And just do the other one. And you really want really nice bold lines. So be quite confident with when you're drawing. Oh, I've pressed really hard there, I've actually come through. And you can't get anything too precise doing this technique. If you're doing proper lino cutting, you've obviously got a little blade to cut with, and you can get much more precise designs. So for this technique, keep it simple. Don't try and do anything too complicated, because then you won't be disappointed if your design doesn't come out quite how you expected it to. You can see I've used pencil. As I mentioned, you don't have to. You can use any kind of tool. So I'm just going to show you what it's like. I'm just going to use the rubber on the end of the pencil just to kind of put some little circles on my print as well. Okay, and now we've got our finished printed, our finished sort of stencil ready for printing. So now you're going to want to get your little board. We just use little simple chopping boards. But you can use whatever you've got at home, doesn't really matter. Then you're going to want to unscrew your paint and squish out a small amount. You don't need a lot, and you can always add more if you need more. Then you're going to get the roller, and you're going to go back and forth, side to side. Just keep going, and you're listening for a particular sound. And when the ink starts sort of squelching, you can just about hear it on there, then you're ready to print. A good thing about these rollers, they've got this little ledge here. So when you're coming to rest them, turn them over and rest them upside down, and that means no ink will get onto your worktop or your desk where you're working. So I'm going to move that off. Pop this down here. And then take your roller and go over the top of your design. Now if you're doing a square one like me, really make sure you get all the way to the edges. This is a bit where it can be quite messy. If you need to, pop a bit more ink onto your roller. And you really want to make sure you've got a really nice thick coat all the way over your design. So I've got a squeaky roller. So pop that out of the way. Then what we're going to do, I'm just going to pop just a plain bit of paper down just to protect the back of my card. And get one of your blank cards. Now obviously you've got to think when you fold it, this is going to be the front, so this is the side that we're going to print onto. Because of the way my camera's set up, I'm going to go sideways. And then you're going to get your design, flip it over and pop it down in the middle of your print. Now you can push down with your hands. You can push down with the back of a spoon, or if you've got a spare roller, a nice clean one, you can use that just to go over the top and use that to press down. You're basically just ensuring that the design's being pushed down nice and firmly onto the card. So really push down nice and hard, and then starting from one corner, peel it off. And spin it around and you can see your design. Now this one's got quite a texture on it. That's because I've used textured card and I've probably not put enough ink on there. So what I'll do is I'll do another one and we can see, but you can still see it's a really lovely print as well. So let's move that to a side and let's have another go. Let's see if we can get this one a bit darker. And the joy of printing, and something to kind of embellish and relish with it, is that you don't know exactly what it's going to turn out like until you flip it over. So especially if you're doing the activity with young children, try explain to them, you know, not to be disappointed if it's not exactly how they want. How can they make it better? How can they have another go? So I put a lot more ink on this time. And what's really nice is at this stage you can really see your design really nice and clearly, which is great. So let's pick that up. Put a bit of paper back down. Let's pop that there. Flip that over. Make sure it's roughly in the middle. Really push down. And then using our clean roller, I'm going to push down really hard. And again, you know, a back of a spoon, a wooden spoon works really well for this. You can use your hands, but because I've got a clean roller, that's what I'm going to use. And this time I'm pressing down much more firmly to try and get a bit of a bolder print. And the nice thing about these lino polystyrene blocks is that you can reuse them. Oh, sorry, there's a fly in here. And there we go. Let's peel that off. So now you can see this design where I put a little bit more ink on is much more clear than this first design that I did as well. But both are equally lovely. So that's the activity. The possibilities are endless. I've got some other examples here from a previous workshop I did. Here's a design of a little bird. Here was the stencil of the bird. And then I've also got the finished card version as well. So that's really nice. So you can see the 3 stages of the design process there as well, which is really nice. Then we've also got some other examples here. This is a really nice elephant design, and these were made by people that came on a recent workshop that I did. We've got a little Valentine's card. We've got some lovely plants and foliage. And another Valentine's card. You can tell when we did our workshop. You can also do different colours. You can see this one here has been made out of 2 colours. So this was one stamp and then another stamp was used to do the cloud. And actually I used brown craft paper for this one rather than white. So like I said, the possibilities really are endless. If you didn't have any polystyrene or you didn't want to buy it, I've had a go making a really simple design from just normal corrugated cardboard. I've not trialled this, so I thought I'd do a little example, see how it goes, and then if you didn't like the idea of using polystyrene or you can't afford to buy any, most people have got some cardboard lying around, so let's see how this one works. So So again, get some more ink. Now you will, if you're doing it on corrugated cardboard, you will get the natural lines that you get in the cardboard, but that could be quite cool, so I'm gonna go with it. So making sure I've got lots on my bit of cardboard. Then let's lift that up. Put the paper down. Okay, let's get that into position. So let's flick it over, pop it on, press down, and then just use our clean roller to really push down. Now obviously these stamps won't last as long as the polystyrene ones, but you can recycle them, so there's kind of pros and cons to it. And lift it up. So you can see it's not as clear as design as we got with the polystyrene, but you still can get some prints. So let's just try one more, like really loading it up with ink. But you still do get a print, so you do still get a result. It's just not as clear as we got with the polystyrene. I'm really going to put loads of ink on this time. Got a bit of paper, put the card back in. Now this is a mucky activity, so I would recommend, if you're doing it with young children especially, maybe put aprons on or old clothes. Do it in an area where you're not worried about making a mess. So pushing down really hard. And I'm almost flattening the cardboard on this one to see if we can get a stronger print. And there you go. So you can see it does come out a bit bolder. Like I said, you do still get the lines of the corrugated card, but quite cute. So there you go. Like I said, the possibilities are endless. I really hope you have a go. It's a really nice, fun activity to do for all ages. And if you have a go, please do share your results with us, because we'd love to see what you create. Brilliant. Okay, guys, well, have fun and we'll see you soon. Bye.